This will be the very last time you see my face. For this season, anyway. I'll be slowly, quickly, fastly... Fastly? That's not even a word. This will be the last time you see my face this season. Don't worry, I'm not trying to scare you on purpose. But we're going to have the little season review, and ultimately my face doesn't really need to be on it. And also it might obscure some of the leagues or some of the attributes or some of the stats or any of the good stuff that you really want to see. So after this, I'll be disappearing. So for the final time for season 1, the 2016-17 season of Homegrown Hotspur, hello and goodbye. I'll see you on the other side of the intro. Hello everyone and welcome back to this very special season review of Season 1, our first of having to deal with the potential fallout of Brexit. And actually it's quite interesting that we're now actually leaving Europe in real life, so we could actually see how things pan out. We haven't yet had our Brexit announcement in game, but hey, we're going to be ready for it regardless of what happens. Where else to start but the team that has pretty much played most games so far for us, Ashley Young, with the highest average rating of anyone, and he's a lone player, which is just exactly where you want to be, isn't it? Bloody brilliant. Yeah, fantastic pass completion rate, an average rating of 7.35. Jamal Lascelles is slowly just behind him, on a 7.32, which isn't bad for a young centre-half, with not great potential. I've seen some comments suggesting that maybe he's been a bit short-shifted on his ability and potential this season, or in this season's version of Football Manager, which I dare agree with. He's been pretty decent, even with his relatively low pass completion. But that aside, he's been pretty solid for someone who has jumped up from Championship to Premiership. Then we've got Harry Kane, 7.31. He's not been amazing. He's been, in the last 5 games, 6.64. So he's been a bit indifferent at times. But with 26 goals for the entire season, that's pretty special. Danny Rose then after him. He's been pretty much the mainstay of the team. He's one of the players who's played the most games throughout the entire season. And I haven't got games played up there. Oh, I have. Appearances. Well done, idiot face. There we go. That's a bit easier to see now. He's played 43 games. Maths, obviously not my strong point. Of all his shots, not many have been on target. He's a left back. It doesn't matter. All right? Calm down. Benicophobe after him then with a 7.24. Again, which is fantastic return for someone who's only just recently or this season joined the team. A fantastic goal return for him, only 6 behind Harry Kane. So our strike pairing has worked out fantastically. Kyle Walker, another one who's as solid as expected. Michael Keane after him. He's played 42 games this season, which has been incredible for his development. I think he's picked up his first England cap. He has. So that's also something rather special. And in fact, that mirrors his real-life counterpart, although his real-life counterpart is still at Burnley, but we won't mention that because it ruins all of this. Dele Alli, another key player who's only still 21, which is just obscene. 7.15. He again has been a bit inconsistent, but we've jostled him around and moved him around a little bit. Fantastic pass completion rate, and then we'll round off this list with Eric Dyer, who I finally learned how to say, making 39 appearances, 7.12, and he's another who has been jostled around and moved. He's played right back, centre back, defensive midfield, and in midfield himself. So really, maybe it'll be fair on him to find a position for him and just let him play there rather than moving him around. The rest all sort of just 7 or below. We've had a few really poor performances. Isaac Hayden, brought him in on loan from Newcastle. He will not be being signed permanently. He's been absolutely hopeless in the 3 games he's played. 6.57 is not fantastic. Keziah Sterling, he's only young, he's only 18. He's played 4 games, a 6.57 for him also. He's got plenty of chance to develop into something a bit more. And Marcus Edwards, maybe it was a bit too early for to trying to bleed him through into the first team. He made 9 appearances, he's at 6.65. He was also played in a variety of different positions, trying to sort of shoehorn, for goodness sake. See, I thought this was going to be good. Nice, little clean, nice one-to-one chat, a bit calmer than I normally am, and I've gone and screwed it up. But there you go, Marcus Edwards, not really been at the races this season. Hopefully we can press on, because I do want to make him develop into something really special. I've seen some other players this year really get something out of him, so although it looks like his potential has dropped to only the 4 stars, but we'll keep an eye on him. Jack Grealish is one that we spent big on, and he hasn't really set the world alight, although he has been doing slightly better recently. And then the other real sort of key player who we spent a lot of money on in January was Saido Berahino, and well, he, in different form would probably be fair to him. Didn't play too well in the first few games, didn't score too many. Then he goes and bangs in 4, and then got another 1, and that's been his lot since at Spurs. So he's one to watch for next season and see how he gets on. Now we have an absolute shed load of players on loan. Christian Eriksen, if we do this by average rating, he has topped out the chart there for his performances whilst being on loan at Sevilla, maybe Valencia. I was close enough. He's done okay. 6.7, goodness sake, a 7.6, useful. He's played pretty much every game of their season. His value hasn't dropped at all. Hopefully someone will come in for him this season, because our transfer budget is not tremendous, so we need the money. Moussa Dembele has done equally as well. His value has dwindled a little bit. He's also that little bit older. Hopefully we can still sell him on for a decent amount of cash. He's on loan at Monaco. Kevin Wimmer, he was on loan at Atletico Madrid. He's another young player who we could really probably do with, but unfortunately he doesn't qualify because of Brexit stuff. Maybe I'll live to regret that decision almost as much as signing Joe Lolly, who I should never have bothered signing, but I did anyway. That was one of the worst decisions I have possibly ever made. Thank you very much. So it's most likely that he will be sold in the summer. Son Heung-min is another player who was on a loan at United. He's played a lot of games, actually, more than I thought he had at the start of the season. He only scored 4 goals, not a fantastic return. Hopefully we can recoup some of his value and not have to really undersell him. Paul Lopez is a goalkeeper who is on loan, who we've not played purely because he's Spanish, so he'll be returning on loan and we won't be re-signing him. Now, Bill Bentaleb, interestingly, he's not born in England, because that's annoying. Although he does qualify. No, he doesn't quite qualify, and now we can't play him because he doesn't qualify. Balls. So Bentaleb will also be hopefully being shopped out. Now that we've gone past the first season, this is where things can get interesting, and we can hopefully get rid of some of these players that we weren't able to sell in the first season because they'd only recently joined. Alex Moat will hopefully come into the first team a bit more now he's had a season on loan at Derby, although he's not been amazing for them either. Majority of his appearances coming on from the bench. A lot of these other players, there's not really anyone of any note. There's a couple of youth players like Kyle Walker-Peters. He will be coming into the first team. We need another fullback, particularly if Ben Davies continues to throw his toys out the pram. We'll have to let him join Liverpool, Man City, or whoever else wants to sign him, and it seems to be those two at the moment. Victor Wanyama is another player who actually, he's barely played whilst being out on loan, and he's not been doing particularly well when he has. But he'll be getting shifted out as well. There are a number of youth or younger players that will be shifted out, whether it be on loan or whether it be permanently at the end of this season once we get to the end point of their contracts. There's a lot of crap in this team. If we just do it by ability, you can see where the younger players stop. Now, Joshua Noma, he will be making a return to the first team. In fact, I'm going to do it now because I will forget and then he'll never play again. He was really good at the start of the season, really good, and he goes and has a little bit of a paddy because I wouldn't give him a new contract, and now he's just annoyed at me. So hopefully he's ready to put all his differences aside and rejoin the first team, but we'll have a look at that as and when. Another player who we might look to bring into the first team fold is Ademola Lookman. We signed him at the start of this season, just finishing, but we loaned him straight back out and he joined QPR. Didn't really put up any trees. He's got 4 goals in 35 games, so at least he's got plenty of game time, but his performances have been lacklustre to say the best, really. I don't really know what else to say about it. He's not been fantastic for QPR. Hopefully we can maybe play him in some cup games, give him a bit of decent first team experience at a higher level and see how he progresses there. He's got a decent amount of pace, good dribbling, but as I was saying in the FA Cup final about English players or homegrown players lacking one of either crossing or dribbling and not having both. He's another one of those players that's great at cutting inside and finishing, but not so good at the crossing element. So maybe that's one for him. He's right-footed, so he's naturally going to cut in from the left, and maybe we should really consider how we're going to play tactically to try and get the best out of as many players as possible, which I have been trying to do. That's just stupid if I don't do that, but alas, we'll persevere with things, and we'll look at the tactics later on in this little review. By the way, if you are enjoying this little review, let me know, comment section down below. Should I do this at the end of every season? Should I do it maybe halfway through the season? So people that maybe have joined the series late or have sort of not seen all the episodes, want to get a bit of a catch up, let me know, and it's something that I'll maybe look to do more often. Now, quickly, before we look around the rest of the leagues, I think that we should have a quick look at our under-18s. We've got 2, maybe 3 players that we're looking to bring through. That'll be the Jed, who looks currently like this. Look at all those green arrows. He's got some great potential. So maybe he'll be joining the reserves for next season, as we're going to lose a lot more players than we had previously. Peter Colquette is another one who's got decent potential. Doesn't really look as ready, but mentally is slightly better than the Jed. Jack Rolls is one who plays a few more different roles. Look at it. Look, he's like a spine of a pitch, something like that. He can play in a number of different positions, although apparently he's best suited to the centre of the park. But he's another one who will be keeping a keen eye on to see if he can develop further. And finally, Jonathan Dubai is a player who signed a new contract. I don't know why or how he got offered a new one. It wasn't really part of the plan, but he has. And so, although he's got fantastic potential, he's very much Belgian. See, that we've got no chance with him. So he needs to leave, really, if we're adhering to the rules of the save. Because there's basically nothing there to sort of tie him to England or sort of the Brexit terms and stuff like that. Everyone else is sort of there or thereabouts. There's not really anyone there to write home about. We'll keep an eye on their potential and see if they develop further, but it looks unlikely that the vast majority of these players will not be playing first team football for Tottenham anytime soon, and particularly whilst I'm the manager, because I'm a hard bastard, and if you're not good enough, you don't get through the door, or something like that anyway. Before we go and have a look around the other leagues, it's probably better that we look at how things have gone at home, i.e. at Spurs. These are our end of season awards. Ashley Young got goal of the season. Signing of the season, Benik Afobe happened to keenly forgotten that he used to play for Arsenal, much like Harry Kane, who also won Fans Player of the Season and Young Player of the Season. So he's pretty much had a good little run this season, has Mr. Kane, despite having a bit of indifferent form. That is our season review in a nutshell. we lost in the first knockout round against a very strong Atletico Madrid side, finished third in the Premiership, winning the FA Cup, and we lost in the third round against Everton in the EFL Cup. But it meant we could focus on other things. I know you're going to hate me to say that, but average attendance, 98% full at White Hart Lane. It's obviously key that we are going to be moving to our new stadium very soon. Total of 27 players used, second highest in the Premier League. Rotation is the key. I'm not sure why we're still being suggested that we should sign players with names like that or like that. Greg Kilty, though, look at that potential. Oh, sexual beaver. I don't know what makes him a sexual beaver because he's got teeth. That works, doesn't it? We're going to get a scout report for this young fellow. Oh my word. Dribbling and crossing. Well, this is a treat. He's a Jaden and he wants to move to, but this is perfect. This is just juicy. Shall we see if he's got any silly little contract clauses that makes it very... No, they hasn't. That's annoying. Well, he's in the shopping list. Or the shopping list. He's on the shopping list. Hey, wee laddie. We'll stop the Scottish. I know you hate it, but hey ho, let's stop. So we'll start our little run around the leagues at the Premier. We'll start our run around the Premier. Bollocks. We'll start our run around the leagues in the Premiership. Arsenal, unfortunately, winning it. We were a million miles away from both Arsenal and United in the end. And we only just sort of stuck onto third position by the very much... Bollocks. We'll start a little tour around the leagues in the Premiership. Arsenal and United very much running away. It was a two-horse race for a long time, and we very much only just scraped third by goal difference. So fortunately, some of those bigger wins we had towards the end of the season actually helped contribute in us retaining third position. Everton, Burnley and Middlesbrough all going down. And thank you very much for your comments suggesting that we should go ahead and raid Everton. That is part of the plan. See who else we can, grab their juicy little younglings. That sounds a bit wrong. It would make a change not to have to raid Southampton for their youngsters. So there are going to be some players that will look there. I'd hope Bournemouth would get relegated purely because Callum Wilson, he came second in the top goal scorers for this entire season. And anyone who watched Return of the Rovers will know that Callum Wilson was fantastic for Blackburn as well in that save. So it would be nice to carry on that history we have together. Unfortunately, they want 96 million currently, so it doesn't look like it's going to be happening anytime soon. I was looking for this screen and I've only just bloody found it. What an idiot. Harry Kane finishing 6th overall for the league. Other goals coming throughout the other position. Jermaine Defoe, despite being 34, got 20 goals. Maybe he should be on our shopping list as well. I think we're very daft if we don't consider him, in all honesty. He's going to probably dwindle a bit, but if Sunderland got relegated, has he got a relegation clause? Come on, think about this. No, he hasn't. Again, goodness sake. But it means that he's more likely to want to join another club. So perhaps another backup. Although we've got 3 really good strikers, and if we're going to be changing tactics around and things like that, maybe we should not look at signing him. I don't know. I get giddy when I see strikers available that are going to be good, and I can't control myself. I'm sorry. I find this appearances thing a bit nonsensical and stupid because every player that's played 38 games is joint first. That's just stupid. There weren't too many managerial changes over this season. Chelsea replacing Antonio Conte with Van Gaal at the end of things, which is just weird. Bob Bradley left and was subsequently replaced by Pochettino eventually. Sean Dyche, though, is a big surprise. He got sacked by Burnley. Now, I forgot to point this out whilst we were playing. I was the one who was responsible for relegating Burnley. That us beating them substantially meant that was the final game that they had to mathematically prevent themselves from being relegated. But it was us that finally drew the last blow, or delivered the last blow, and allowed them to go down. By saying blow, you know I'm not being naughty, because we're not naughty anymore. But Sean Dyche has lost his job. A bit daft, maybe. In real life, I would expect that won't happen. even if they do get relegated again in real life, he'll still be there because he's a bloody fantastic manager at working on a shoestring and with limitations imposed upon him. Aitor Karanka has also been sacked by Middlesbrough and he's been replaced by Michael Laudrup. So a lot of life imitating art or art imitating life, whichever way, other than obviously the Chelsea one, which is a bit weird, but all of the others seem to have happened. Apart from I've literally 2 of them have happened and nothing else. Shut up. Dropping down to the Championship, Wolves scraped past Derby on penalties to gain promotion to the Premiership, but let's have a look to see how the rest of the league shaped up. Newcastle, Villa and Wolves, all 3 going up. Rotherham, Wigan and Preston all getting relegated. Blackburn actually doing okay considering the circumstances there. Owen Keel, I believe, lost his job. Chris Powell is now the manager, so that's always interesting. But that's the Championship. That's how things weigh up. Derby failing to get promotion. Maybe that's our fault because we stole 2 of their key players, but that's not our problem. In League One, Charlton, Sheffield United and Millwall all gaining promotion, with Chesterfield, Oldham, Southend and AFC Wimbledon all getting relegated. Northampton actually doing really well. The reason why I'm mentioning Northampton is because I'm from Northamptonshire, if you hadn't gathered. So, yeah, they're doing all right. MK Dons and Peterborough are just above them. That would have pissed them off, no doubt. I can pretty much guarantee being sort of relatively local rivals to both teams, but there you go. And League 2, Blackpool winning the league. Well, that's baffling, despite their financial issues. Leyton Orient, Crawley and Plymouth also going up via the other promotion spots. Plymouth via the playoffs, I believe. Cheltenham and Morecambe both going down to the Vanarama National League. On to things all continental. The Champions League was won by Barcelona. Atletico Madrid, the people or the team that knocked us out, got to the final. So maybe we could have got there if we'd defeated those, but we didn't, alas. So that's the situation that happened there. An all-Spanish final. How did La Liga end up? Barcelona winning, with Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid and Valencia all in the top half. In fact, Real Madrid and Barcelona on equal points at 4 goals. In Spain it's different because it's done on head-to-head, but that is a pretty tasty thing. Atletico Madrid were 10 points shy of both those, and Valencia even further behind. So rather sort of, it's rubbish. It's a pants league. The Bundesliga won by Bayern, who also won it on goal difference. There's been a lot of that this season. Gelsenkirchen, or Schalke as they're also known as, Leverkusen and Dortmund finishing off the top 4, who will be the German teams entering into the Champions League next season. Bremen and Darmstadt surprisingly in, well, Bremen certainly, Darmstadt maybe less so, but in the relegation places and have dropped out of the Bundesliga. I wouldn't ordinarily look at Scotland, but it's important because we're looking at Scotland for potential signings as we're limited to 4 countries. Celtic winning by a country mile as expected. I'm not even going to bother looking at Wales. It's stupid. Or Northern Ireland, what is the point? No point. No one cares about it. If you do, comment section down below, let me bloody well know. Now, looking to the future and looking to signings that we might be making, we've got a decent amount of coverage throughout. The left-hand side is a bit weaker than the right, but really we've got a fairly decent balance, but we need to improve in certain areas. People have suggested the likes of, in fact, let's have a look at the shortlist to see the players who I'm looking at bringing in. As you can see, majority are English, so Joe Hart is absolutely on the list. Whether it's going to be permanent or not, we'll find out, but he's still worth quite a lot of money, so we only have a transfer budget at the moment of £20 million. If we can get the likes of Christian Eriksen out of the club, then maybe we can afford to sign a few more, but we need a new goalkeeper. Ben Foster is not the long-term solution. I hoped he would be, because he's been a bit rubbish. Mikel Antonio, he's another one, pacey as anything, 27. Maybe. It depends on how... look at that. Ridiculous. 42 million. This is why we didn't go for him last season, because we just didn't have enough money to go round. So whether we we will still go for him or not. We could go stupidly young. Carter Vickers is another one who you may have noticed that, yeah. We're putting another offer in for him because I want him back, because we should never have sold him in the first place. Aaron Lennon is another one. In fact, the entire Everton team of English players is up for grabs. Ross Barkley is on that list. Hopefully, Everton, he's only worth 13 million now because they've been relegated. This is amazing. There's nothing in his contract that states that he'll leave anyway. But if we can get him for 20 million, that'd be pretty tasty. Mari Gray is only worth 10 million pounds now. He's another one on this. Look at that potential. He's another one that could be very much joining the club. Hopefully, if we can get our teeth sunk into him. Nathan Redmond is another one whose value's dropped drastically. Maybe we should start scouting. He's another one who's on the... In fact, I don't know why I keep on saying that. All of the players that are on this list are ones that we're looking at, apart from Lee Cattermole, who we're definitely not looking at because he's awful. Rico Henry of Brentford may be priced out of a move by his team. They want around between £5 and £8 million for him. I don't really have that amount of money to waste on a left back that we don't necessarily need or will necessarily get sufficient game time. Lee Griffiths was priced out of a move in the summer, or in last summer, and in this last winter transfer window. It's likely that the same will happen again. He's too old really now, and I say that because I don't really know why, because I'm looking at Jermaine Defoe. But for the amount of money they're looking for, I'm not willing to part with that sort of cash. Jason Cummins is an interesting prospect. We don't have any Scottish players at the moment, and we've already mentioned one. I can't remember his name. It began with a W or a G. Is it Gilkey or something? Who knows? But he's going to be hopefully joining for around £1 million, which is not very much for someone who's quite young. Jason Cummins could be he could come in and do a job, and he's not worth an awful lot either. 21 may be a bit too old to develop into anything special, but he's still got a rather open amount of potential to be exploited. Oliver Burke is another player. Look at all this Scottish talent that we'd previously left alone because we can't afford it. Well, we'll see if he's any good. I'm not sure if on the update he's had a bit of an upgrade. But if he has, we won't obviously see that, because this is on a pre-update database, but shut up. So this is how we set up tactically towards the end of last season. It's something that needs improving. Defensively, we were suspect, and towards the end of the season, Harry Kane's form dipped right off. So we need to think about, once we've signed players, in fact, I very rarely think about how I'm going to play until I've signed the players, because I don't really like shoehorning play. Like I've got Will Hughes, for example, out on the left-hand side cutting in. He's not really... he's a playmaker, yes, but he's not going to be playing out wide particularly well. So we need to try and... I say we, it's my job, I'm the manager, to try and get everyone else together and playing as a cohesive unit. See? Words. I'm just saying words, aren't I? Yep, yes I am. So maybe we'll look at perhaps playing something along these lines with Dyer maybe dropping in. So we can go back to a 4-1-2-2-1, or I don't know. We've got many options. Perhaps going to something that, because we've got a lot of attacking midfield talent there as well. It depends on who we can get in, but we'll see how we go. All right. I lied about the face thing. You're going to see me now for the outro. So if you have enjoyed this video, please click that like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if this is the first video you've seen, why don't you make sure that you check out Season 2 now that you know what has gone on for Season 1. I don't know how better else to set it up. It's going to start getting a bit exciting. Goody gumdrops. Right, that's enough from me today. I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.